Yeah, well done from Fnatic game number 1. There's another game coming your way right now. It's Myrmidons versus Fnatic game number 2. Picks and bans underway. This time, Myrmidons will be that first pick position.
Now, last game, as we see Serqet banned out first and foremost, you mentioned that Fnatic didn't really have to go into any of these team fights, which was a good thing because they didn't have an initiation. They didn't have the Bellona. They didn't have the Odin Ring. They didn't have the things necessary to set up a good team fight. So they won sort of on the outskirts and then just outpositioned their opponent in the 2 or 3 team fights that we actually did see.
Same ban so far through this one. Hell, second ban, not first ban. Khepri removed by Myrmidons even in the first pick position. So I guess Dardez not too comfortable on the Khepri.
Yeah, I mean,
or they don't value it, at least.
These newer characters, one of the interesting things is Khepri came out in the SPL the same week that she came out in ranked. So if the majority of your practice is coming out in ranked, you didn't really have time to practice this.
You and Brandon both say she for this god. It is clearly not a girl.
And I discussed this. Khepri is clearly a male. He has one of the deepest voices in the game. And for some reason, I keep calling Khepri.
Both.
I mean,
she's pretty good.
Hades going to be picked up for Myrmidons. So again, going to try and channel that MoGow. As I said, the first performance was fantastic. Second time he played this character last week, 0-4-1. We'll see if MoGow can re-perform the first time and forget about the second.
Sylvanas first pick this time out of Fnatic. That's surprising.
Well,
I wonder why. I mean, Geb and Sylvanas kind of fill that same role. So are they looking for some kind of healing composition with this really early draft here? But that tips your hat pretty well. Or perhaps they like the Sylvanas and the Hades matchup. But it is MoGow. And if you're wondering why the hell Hades was first pick, even though he is really, really strong and a very good lane dominator and pretty well valued in this meta, it's normal to see him banned usually in the second banning phase. MoGow is the premier Hades player on planet Earth.
Oh, yeah.
And he's really, really good with it. So they're going to first pick it.
Janus, on the other hand, by Fnatic. So this is a character that Zyrhoes plays extraordinarily well, but also one of Psiyo's top gods. So Fnatic getting a 1-2 punch by taking the early mid lane Janus on their side. Bellona and Agni going to round out the first round of picks for Myrmidons.
And it looks like Psiyo will be piloting the Agni. Not one of his comfort picks. It's been the Isis and the Janus primarily for him, but Agni. Everyone should have an Agni. Smite should have an Agni.
Completely agree. This is one of the staples of the mid lane. He's got long range sustained damage. If you want, the burst can come out, though not quite Kraken level, but you can put your meteors on top, and a range stun, a safety dash. Agni has to be in your kit if you're a mid laner.
It seems a little bit like Myrmidons. They're like they just forgot about Ao Kuang because it just gets banned so often.
Yep.
Again, it's going to go the way of Fnatic, and
again this late in the draft.
Scouting report as well, as we mentioned, would say pressure Twig. Don't let him play the same god twice. It's certainly not one like Ao Kuang, and sure enough, he's going to get it. So Twig are the really big opportunity here to show out. They're going to ban the Ares away, will Fnatic. Speculating that Myrmidons will be trying to draft the team fighter. Freya removed on the side of Myrmidons.
Fnatic has no problem with that. Reals can play it well, but I've spoken to him. Freya's not a god that he actually enjoys playing. Real's definitely a more traditional hunter. The Anhurs, the other characters that are just straight, basic, in hands. That's what Real's likes to do. So with the option over Fnatic, we're going to see the Hercules picked up for Maniakk, one of his stronger gods, leaving the pick for Real's until last.
Yeah, another big Bluestone carrier as well. Yeah, it gives Real's that counter pick. Final 2 picks coming through from Myrmidons. Their hunter and potentially their support also pending on the table here. Bellona, we figure her for the jungle considering it did pretty well for them in the last game.
This is actually very interesting. Sort of picks and bans generally go a very similar way as we see Sobek picked up, where the solo laner on team number 2 will almost always get picked last because of that counter pick. But by Myrmidons showing their hands early on in the draft by selecting that Hades number 1, which, as we said, will most likely go to the solo laner MoGow, Hercules can be picked up, leaving, as you said, the counter pick for the hunter lane. And Sobek versus Shibalanki, which hunter is Sylvanas going to want here?
Yeah, Apollo, just to go for the out rotation, is obviously available. Dusa, although we've seen her fall off quite a bit here, and maybe not the playmaker that you would want on Reals. I wouldn't be super surprised to even see a Cupid here.
Interesting.
It has a lot of synergy with this squad.
There is the Apollo.
That bonus healing as well, but Hercules, Sylvanas will be the 2 core healers here for the team. Apollo, he will be, they'll just look to out-rotate Myrmidons now. Ao Kuang very mobile, Janus very mobile, Apollo obviously with a global presence. They'll have a pretty tough time with Myrmidons. And this also indicates to me that they're going to basically ignore the Hades. that they're going to just pressure the dual lane here. They have a pretty aggro-based dual lane. They'll have the Alkwang move over there, the reinitiation from the Apollo, and just leave Hercules to just soak up experience and not die. Driving Strike is one of the better tools in the Warrior class for escaping out of that Hades ultimate.
Sure.
The Warriors, generally speaking, don't have that many low cooldown movement-based abilities. You think about Bellonas and Osiris's, their leaps are on their ultimates, which is a pretty normal archetype for that class. Odin, Hercules, those types are usually the ones that have the movement abilities, and they're less common.
Sun Wukong has an interesting menagerie.
But the animals don't get out of Hades ultimate, I don't think, because they're ground speed based.
They're like stuck.
Yeah, they have movement speed, so it's not technically a leap or a tween or a dash. So, yeah, it'll be great to see this one go down. You know, and it'll be up to Maniakk. If Maniakk somehow manages to get an early kill here, he'll be in a great spot. Obviously, Hercules is most efficient up against Hades in terms of clear through the first 4 levels, as is basically the other 62 gods in the game. No one can clear like Hades.
What Hades does do, which might present an interesting situation for Maniakk to take advantage of, is Hades, in order to get his clear, will have to dash into the wave. If he dashes too far, we might see the 1-2 combo coming out from the Hercules to push him under the tower. We'll see if LeMoGow is going to be out of position that much to really allow Maniakk to take advantage of that one. But Psiyo will pick up his red buff and make his way to the mid lane.
Mid lane Psiyo, once again, in effect here. He'll be piloting the Agni, and Agni is a playmaker. Very much so a playmaker.
Oh, yeah.
And like Janus, you know, it's not a super different role, I'd say, but, you know, for Psiyo, it's kind of a test for him. I'm definitely going to keep a close eye here and see how well he does. I mean, granted, this is one of the premier players in the world 2 years ago. Maybe even a year ago, you could say that.
You know, all the times that he's ever played mid lane specifically, we've seen great stuff come out of Psiyo. There was a period of time where he transitioned into the solo lane for Mortality. A lot of familiar names on that squad, Fexes, etc. But did not see the same amount of success in the solo lane that he did in the mid lane, so Myrmidons invite him back to take over that mid lane role.
Also, Psiyo tried to play Anubis. That was fun. Big fan of that.
I know you like the Anubis.
Big fan of the Anubis.
We actually got to see one of the more exciting combos, the double dog combo. The Fenrir Ragnarok into the Anubis ult. Love the double dog.
Double dog's good. Not as good as the old shake and bake. That's still my favorite.
Definitely. Old Wah.
Rip old Wah.
Left lane, seeing the same old song and dance. Xbalanque's a character that's going to come online a little bit later than Apollo, as far as Power Spike is concerned. He's considered one of the most late-game hunters in a class of late-game characters. The Xbalanque is sort of the absolute tip of that sword.
CaptainTwig has made the early rotation. Going to prove me wrong. I said that maybe they would ignore the solo lane, but here it looks like they want to try to find the kill before he hits level 5. LeMoGow did throw an in-hand off to the side there, though, which leads me to believe, and I think Fnatic thinks as well, that he knew that Twig was there, and Twig come in and just clear and fall back towards the middle of the map.
Yeah, you're not going to go in on that Hades before the dash goes down, which, as I said, is a large part of his clear. So waiting for that trigger to be pulled, but LeMoGow, that's what told me that he saw CaptainTwig. Just the fact that he didn't dash in and go for those wave clear.
Dodo's going to clear the wave out a little bit here. A bomb going to be expended by Psiyo, just to force a blink out of Twig, and well, it's a quiet game through 3 minutes now, as no one has struck the first blood just yet, but the ultimates are coming out around the map, and it's got to be happening soon, one would think. It's some fairly kill-based lineups as well here. I mean, this lane from the Dardez and of course, Jermain lane on the Xbalanque, there's a lot of kill potential there. A pluck into the slow, it's going to be trouble for really anybody, and is there a weakening curse on the Sobek? No, it's a blink. So trying to play aggressive as well are the Myrmidons.
So LeMoGow in the right-hand lane, him and Maniakk were fighting just a little bit. If we could take a look at LeMoGow's situation, the ultimate is down. Wasn't sure if he was going to put an extra point without leveling up that ult, because I noticed he was 5 without it. But him and Maniakk had a little bit of a fight, and LeMoGow's ultimate down, so was Maniakk. But nothing really of consequence over there. Worth noting, though, that with that ult down, CaptainTwig might be able to gank.
Yeah, I think you were probably right. I mean, probably at level 5, he should have just taken another point into Power Souls. But,
yeah,
you know, it's a pretty simple proposition right now. You walk up, you Shroud of Darkness them, which is your 2, apply the Blight to all of the targets, and then go ahead and detonate it. And you just save your dash to escape and just never die to the Hercules. Is kind of the plan. For LeMoGow, just scale up, get your Warlock Sash online. Don't be forced back before you can finish it. I'm preaching to the choir here. I mean, LeMoGow is synonymous with Hades. Oh. Talk about that later.
Slight misstep. No harm, no foul. Fnatic picks up both Harpies on the left-hand side. And this trifecta that we see so often, mid-jungle support, making their bond known. In comes the Sobek, blink into the pluck. A little bit of double on to Badgah. Might be able to get out of this with some hot shooks, and he will.
Psiyo had 3 bombs there. I'm surprised they didn't try to expend a little bit more onto the Sylvanas.
Sylvanas, I mean, it's a Guardian. That said, this early is definitely a prime target.
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy kill, really, is what it is. No escape, no real MS, movement speed buffs, nothing to really get him out of there.
I like that Badgah didn't use the ult.
Badgah did.
Very level-headed. No ultimate coming out from the Sylvanas. Just very level-headed. I'm surrounded by 3 people that want me dead. Don't need to use it. I'll just walk. He had faith that the Janus portal was going to come out. Team on the same page.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, right on the mark with Zyrhoes there. It stops the aggression right in its tracks. And Sylvanas waddles on out. And LeMoGow showing off the plight of the Hades player there. Your Death from Below and Devour Souls combination takes the camp down to about 215 HP usually, and you do 40 damage a swing. So the old the Hades conundrum. I do so much damage, yet I am so ineffective.
It's like an Athena jungle sort of has the same deal. Drops a shield wall in one of these jungle camps, and then has to sit there for an absorbent amount of time. Now, there's a matchup between Xbalanque and Apollo going back and forth. Both of them sort of have a boost on their basics. Apollo's comes from just raw attack speed with its audacity, and the bolas are going to be boosting what Xbalanque can do.
Yeah, Bola's in his passive, or I guess his kind of ultimate passive thing, which gives him bonus power for the kills that he gets. So early game kills very, very important for the Xbalanque, as we mentioned. That's a lot of the reason why you see the Sobek picked up with the blink as well, to try to set up those kills, but nothing cooking just yet for Myrmidons. Nor Fnatic for that point, though. 0-0 at 6 minutes.
Maniakk was pushing up onto the solo lane because he had jungle presence, but as was pinged out, Bellona's here, and so is Sobek. The pluck will miss. 2 members here to Myrmidons 3, but quickly with the Janus portal, it's a 4-on-3, and Zyrhoes makes his presence noted in the solo lane with an unstable vortex.
He's going to snatch Badgah, but he's going to fall right through the Janus portal. As soon as he gets down, he's plucked in as well, and then leaps away. Death from below successful. And it looks like that's going to be it for now, as CaptainTwig is able to blink away from that Psiyo bomb. So for the moment, let's go ahead and check back into the dual lane here and take a look at the Xbalanque and Apollo.
That's first blood.
That was first blood as well.
That's the first kill that we get to see this game, almost 7 minutes in. And with that and some good farming, Fnatic leads by about 1,000.
Yeah, and it's a small advantage as well for Realzx. You see him just ping out 9. Jermain should be able to pick it up as soon as he starts clearing out some of these minions. He's not too far behind either.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I like to see Jermain on these classic hunters.
Invade from Fnatic will be successful. Twig, he'll blink away. Dardez not going to go for just the raw pluck there. Not feeling himself, unfortunately.
Stun good on the Zyrhoes.
Oh, second bomb's going to hit 2. Nicely played by Psiyo there. He's going to chip out Zyrhoes pretty effectively. It's going to force the Janus back and give Psiyo some free farm space. Looks like Dota stole away at least one of those Harpies from the mid lane there as well. So a nice 30-second engagement there from Myrmidons actually gives them a good bit of wiggle room here for the Agni to catch up a bit and farm. Dark Dodo with a sidestep.
Pull's just going to miss, but the pluck won't. That's going to be some trouble.
They have the lockdown. They're going to knock up the Agni. The dot's there. Doesn't matter. Dodo dashes up, and Myrmidons get the return kill. In comes Realzx, though, and Fnatic. They're going to try to turn this one around. They'll get the return kill right away onto the enemy mid laner. They'll exchange their jungler for the enemy mid. About an even trade, I'd say.
Myrmidons still feeling themselves, throwing out the taunts and the idle animations going out from Sobek. No problem there. But Myrmidons, as you said, they pick up their first kill. Fnatic immediately fix it. And Jermain does a smart thing. You're not going to be able to follow that Apollo at a reasonable... Nothing you do. By the time you make it to the lane, as you saw, if Xbalanque had made it over there to the mid lane, nothing really would have come of it. So Jermain opts to stay in his lane and forces his push onto the tower.
Yeah, without his boots finish, that's a long rotation for Xbalanque. Just Boots 2 picked up now as he goes back. His Devour's gloves getting stacked up as well, so he's on his way. Devo's gloves are nearly halfway, or a little over halfway done here for the Apollo as well. 42 stacks for Realzx. He's a bit ahead there, as he hasn't had to rotate out quite as much. He maintains his level advantage. He's grown that a bit as well, and all things told, it's just a nice little start for Fnatic here. Need that first blood. They're up. Let's take a look at the graphs quickly here as well to see just how well they've done through the laning phase. The experience is really the thing to key off on. It's over 2,500, 2,600 experience now. Nearly 1,700 gold as well to their credit. Certainly not any kind of game-shattering lead, but they've certainly gotten the better of the first 10 minutes of the game.
I mean, the most separation is honestly between the support players. Badgah about a level and a half above his opponent Dardez. Zyrhoes has a level above Psiyo as well. But CaptainTwig trailing behind Dark Dodo, believe it or not, as well as in the gold. About even, though.
Yeah, Badgah was involved in a kill, a couple of assists to his credit. Sobek only the one in the death as well. He just hasn't gotten it going with that Blink, a very, very aggressive loadout out of the Sobek. Look, it's Pen Boots, Blink, Watcher's Gift for him. I mean, they are looking for kills on Myrmidons. They just haven't been successful setting them up yet.
We've seen a lot of the Blink pulls, as you said, and we're hitting them. Myrmidons is going ahead and getting the pulls, but the follow-up is there, but just not enough. Here, Fnatic try to make something happen in the mid lane. Pull will miss, so will the root. Sylvanas not quite effective this sequence.
So he's waiting for his Blink to come back, I believe. It's on cooldown from the damage. Tread's heading up, but it's not going to be in time.
Here comes the rest.
On the Bologna means that she can begin to duel the Apollo here. The disarm plus Iqvile. He won't be able to shred through her too quickly with Audacity. But this Apollo pick is, I think, really a smart one here. Fnatic basically spotted out the fact that Myrmidons was going for a kill lane. And they pick Apollo, who's really the probably the most survivable of the hunters. He's kind of that jack-of-all-trades style character. And one of the things that he does very, very well is just survive. He has the bonus protections that he can steroid from. The Serenade, he has the dash as well, and of course the ultimate.
I mean, he's considered the escape artist of the hunter role.
Right.
And as you said, worst comes to worst, he has a literally eject button. To just hit his ultimate and
away he goes.
Swing out into wherever he feels fit. We will see a Devo Gloves, not a Transcendence, so he won't be able to do a lap around the map quite, but still able to get really out of anywhere with that ult.
Well, Gold Fury. Not up just yet. Look at the sentry wards from Fnatic. Holy moly.
So much vision. I mean,
four
just on the left side.
Oh, yeah, on the left side around the Gold Fury and the one to the right of the mid camps. I mean, with this vision advantage, I would expect them to try to force the objective here. They try to bring out the Gold Fury there. I mean, if not, it's a little bit of a waste of gold.
Just keeping the eyes on the map and understanding where everybody is. Right lane, we see how Kwang clearing the blue buff for Maniakk. Might be thinking about the gank after it's done. But no, we'll opt to just traverse the map and head to the left-hand side. Pings coming out on the Gold Fury.
There we go.
Reals thinking about it.
We knew it was coming. Sooner rather than later. Down now to about 50% HP is the Gold Fury. Turning the corner is Dodo. He's going to be able to spot this one out. Not leaping in just yet. There's no man on the Shiva Lanke. Sile's trying to get in position for the bombs. They're going to poke out Dodo. Twig not willing to move forward. He'll shoot the dragons out. Now going to blink away from that Agni bomb. For now, Myrmidons has disrupted this
great pull.
Chance. The pull into the push from Hercules. Good bit of damage done here. Can Sobek get away from this one? Boulder uses well. Will the pluck come out of time? No, the dot's going to do it out of Badgah. Up into the air goes Apollo. Comes crashing down as well. Gets a lot of damage out of that ultimate. He's disarmed nicely there and now is forced to dash out of the Hades ultimate, but all 5 members of Fnatic can go ahead and tee off onto LeMoGow. Another nice pluck into the driving strike, into the execute now. And in the backside, Real says, you know what, I'm done with this fight. I'm going to go try to solo out the Gold Fury again. Although he can't take it up very, very effectively just now. Now he can finally leash to the team quite low. Psiyo, Jermain, they're not in a position to contest this. Just trying to farm up a bit as Jermain now as Gold Fury will go down in favor of Fnatic just at the 13-minute mark. And that's the first really true advantage and big lead that they're going to have this game.
Everyone on this Fnatic squad looks to be on the same page. We're seeing the flips coming out from Maniakk directly into a follow-up from Badgah or a follow-up from Reals. And
oh,
there's the flip we're talking about. Jermain might have been, unfortunately, felt a little bit too at home in his own jungle.
Yeah, I'll take half of his HP pool there. Just on the Marvin Unstable Vortex with Zyrhoes. If he would have gotten that poke as well, it would have been pretty ugly. He'll be using his beads here, it appears. Try to disengage, and Fnatic, they've overstayed their welcome a little bit, but with that tanky frontliner, the Hercules really stymies a lot of the threat.
Yeah, just no real reason for them to be that far gone still in that fight. But as I said, a lot of that fight had to do with Maniakk and his ability to go ahead and use that flip. And we'll take a look at how Maniakk is performing against LeMoGow specifically here. And the KDA going the way of Maniakk.
Yeah, they've had a little bit more successful campaign throughout the season so far. GPM 471 on a Maniakk as well. I mean, they just gotten the better of them. Although after alpha draft points, not too far apart there. 12.6 for LeMoGow. And LeMogow's had some really, really standout games so far this split as well.
Has been a big part of those 2 wins that Myrmidons do have. So really making himself known on this squad. Gonna go ahead and save his entire wave before they get hit by the tower.
Dardez, he'll be safe for now. Nearly got pulled in by Badgah there, but not too much happening at the moment. Maniakk, he's going to move over to the right side here, back to solo island. But it's no man is an island as 2 teammates are waiting in the wings here. No ward coverage for LeMoGow there to spot out this rotation. The sentry ward is, indicated to Twig and Badgah that LeMoGow didn't know they were there, and they'll just go ahead and walk forward and start smacking this tower down. And there's not much LeMoGow can do about this except for clear the minions, but if he moves up too much and continues to take a few more pokes like that, he can start getting into a bit of trouble. CC chain coming through from Badgah. They'll force the beads. No ultimate used by LeMoGow. Driving strike through. Now we'll try to use the ultimate and imagine. Yes, Shibboleth ultimate used as well. They didn't know that Janus had rotated over nicely there. Wrath of Terror came out just a bit too early. Dardez is going to miss the pluck onto Zyrhoes. A nice juke out of him as well. Ultimate pending. Yes, it will be used by CaptainTwig. He doesn't get the credit for the kill, but he does get up into the air, proccing the heal and the re-engage if he wants it. Real's going to move forward. They'll put the burst damage out onto Psiyo. Not enough to secure the kill just yet, but once again, back into the tower. Zyrhoes, he bails out. CaptainTwig eating the bolas as well. Forced to walk around the slow, however, is Jermain, and that should be enough. Pluck comes back onto Reels. He eats the burst damage out of the Agni. Nicely placed bomb as well out of Psiyo. And a few more in-hands. No, the ultimate from Zyrhoes. Will it be in time? Great body block coming out of Maniakk there to stop the darts from finding his mid laner, and he's just going to walk away from the Shibboleth. That Janus threshold doing a lot.
That play by Maniakk to block the darts, Bart, that was...
Heads up.
It was exactly. I mean, it wasn't the flashiest play. It wasn't the most highlight reel worthy play that we've seen. But it was just awareness. It was understanding of the situation. Situational awareness is the term, and Maniakk really putting it on display right there to save the life of Zyrhoes, who narrowly escaped just about 30 seconds before that.
Pythag's piece completed on the Alquang, so bringing that bonus power aura to the table for the Janus and the Sylvanas. Also a bit of life steal for himself and good about a power to boot. Not quite as much as the Bancroft, but, we haven't been looking at Alquang saying, man, he really just hasn't putting out damage so far this game. He's done perfectly fine for himself.
So that fight largely went the way of Myrmidons, honestly. Fantastic defense. The tower did go down, but Myrmidons able to really sort of maintain control. They take out Realzx, which is going to be a big deal. They take out a couple of other players, and all in all, Myrmidons looking good, although unable to defend their objective on the right-hand side of the map.
Rooted out now and plucked back in is Psiyo. Nice place by Badgah. Does he have the ultimate available? He does, but isn't going to use it again. Just that steady hand from Badgah.
Dardez having trouble with the pluck, unable to really land it most of the time, forced into the lurking in the waters to force people away from where he's at. And with that, Fnatic will push into the opponent's jungle and most likely make a look at this left-hand tower.
Zyrhoes did a ton of damage in that last engagement. 3 space and time hit, as did the Unstable Vortex on the Sobek, and now after that poke, they have a pretty good opportunity to push forward here. You see both the Shibboleth and the Sobek were forced back to the base. They'll clear out this wave and maintain this aggressive positioning in the front left kind of quadrant of the map here. As the Gold Fury will be spawning up again in about 15 seconds. Pluck is going to hit, but going to be beads away. Out goes Zyrhoes. Not going to be stopped just yet by LeMoGow off the mark with his ultimate. Quite low are the members of Myrmidons, but off the mark was Realzx with his ultimate there. Still looking for that kill. Still looking for the kill on the Dardez. Hercules. He'll be forced to boulder. No, he won't. He'll find it with that Earthbreaker. Tier 1 mid in trouble, as are a couple members of Myrmidons isolated over in the left side jungle.
All tier 1s for the Myrmidons now down. Fnatic doing a fantastic job taking out the structures here against Myrmidons. And Myrmidons in a little bit of trouble in their own jungle, a lot of which has to do, I think, Bart, with the Sobek pick. When the pluck comes out, most notably in that right-hand side that we saw, not last fight, but the fight before that, people die. The pluck came out on the Zyrhoes. He almost died, but when it misses hard, and unfortunately Myrmidons losing a couple of their engagements because of that. Fnatic off of the back of that fight, able to take out the Gold Fury uncontested, and now lead by 7,000 gold.
Yeah, Fnatic out-executing Myrmidons for now. I mean, we've seen those plucks come out, but unable to keep the CC chains up. And they kind of have this really nice roster as Myrmidons for kind of initiating and then really solid counter initiation as well out of the Hades. So you kind of have the Sobek go in there, start the fight, and then Hades is intended to come in and clean up, and the Agni is there to provide the burst damage as well to synergize with it. But Janus has been a nightmare. He's out of this fight though, and it's a great opportunity for Myrmidons to surge forward. LeMoGow has a great chance to put out a bunch of damage, but he's getting torn apart by Realzx, and I don't see Realzx backing off. He's going to continue staying here and fight. Maniakk will pick up Dark Dodo. Moving forward is Dardez, but it's going to be Psiyo, the main target that Realzx is gunning for.
Realzx.
Down he will go, and CaptainTwig will take out Dardez as well. Hercules, Driving Strike is beads out, but he's going to be just fine for now. Wrath of Terra, plus the Root, a couple of in-hands as well. I don't think it's enough to take out Jermain. Maniakk trying to run away from the Hades. Devour Soul is there, but Mitigate Wounds is better. Can he find the pluck again as LeMoGow beads could have come off cooldown now? Oh, he's just a little bit too early as Maniakk. Silence, Driving Strike, dead. Down you go. Over the top comes Realzx, looking for Jermain. Full ultimate is channeled. So beautiful. Such a good kill. Tier 2 being pressured as well now. Realzx making the call to stay. Throwing in the Audacity attacks. Hercules going to move in as well. Start pressuring that Tier 2. In the mid lane, Alkwang's going to push the lane up as well to get some chip damage away there. And Fnatic comes out way ahead on that fight.
Absolute confidence in both their abilities and their teammates. Fnatic takes that fight 4-on-5, able to secure everyone. What was really fun was the fight sort of began, or the fight for Fnatic began when Maniakk got the kill on Dark Dodo with the bouncing ball. It hit him the first time, came back around off of the ricochet of the wall, and goes ahead and Boulder takes out the character. And like I said, confidence in their abilities and their teammates. Everyone on Fnatic was about 40% HP for the large majority of that team fight, Bart, but nobody really backed off. Realzx took out a couple of people. He was very low. Lifesteal brought him back up, and that's what we saw. Just very, very low, staying in the fight.
Zayden, do we have a healing stat available that we can see? Let's take a look at it. So, yeah, about 4,000 health coming out of the Sylvanas. Hades is put at about 4,600 there, but of course that doesn't that includes himself there. But yeah, I mean, I think that comes down, as you mentioned there in that last fight, Fnatic, the entire team gets out with the 40% HP, and a lot of that has to do with Sylvanas. The other half of it is that Myrmidons dumped a lot to get the Janus out of the fight. They do secure the kill, but they overextended a little bit to get it, and they dumped notably the Eagles rally into Janus to secure that kill. And well, just again, Fnatic has it's kind of opposite the last game. Where in the last game, they had to take those picks. This game, they've just been forcing the team fights with their superior team fight composition. And once again, you're going to see it happen here. As 3 members surge forward, the back line's getting assaulted as well. The darkest of dark nights is happening, however, as it looked like Realzx was actually blinded in his chariot, which was causing that effect. And yeah, I mean, just the back line getting assaulted by the crashing in Ao Kuang and Apollo. The frontliners just maintaining such an aggressive front line. Sylvanas and Hercules feeling invincible. They dive the Phoenix with the Tier 2 still up. Fnatic way out ahead in this one. It's going to be another 15,000 gold lead at least as they make their way into the base.
Maniakk's Hercules here, 5-0-7 on the frontline warrior for Fnatic, looking so incredible. He's starting fights, Bart. He's ending fights, Bart. He's finding kills. He's serving kills. Maniakk has been a huge part of this 14-4 kill line for Fnatic, looking very, very strong. And 22 minutes in, I mean, this team, Fnatic, is incredible.
Yeah, there should be no real question. I mean, Hercules is the player of the game, I would say. Involved in 12 out of the 14 kills, tons of kill participation.
Well, make that 13 out of the 15.
Yeah, even more coming his way. I mean, he's getting all the assists, setting up yet another kill there. And Maniakk, Bluestone Pendant Hercules. We haven't seen it just yet. We've seen the Wukong, we've seen the Odin. We haven't yet seen the Hercules, and Maniakk brings it out for the first time that I've seen it in the Pro League. Granted, I've been traveling a bit, but holy moly, has this been really, really effective for Fnatic.
He's on the top of the player damage, Bart. That's a Hercules.
And without a Mystical Mail. Right, which is normally what you would say about the Hercules. Oh, he's on top of the player charts because of Mystical Mail.
Right.
Right, and not all of that damage is really effective damage. But here, no, that's all just brute strength from the champion of Rome. Maniakk and Badgah have just been an absolute terror for Myrmidons in this game. They just got to be so tired of dealing with this front line.
They're always getting pulled. Fnatic really using their characters well. And
what's going on? Oh, they're waiting. They're waiting for Ao Kuang to spawn. Fnatic, what good guys. Nice friends.
Never leave a friend behind. Now, Myrmidons actually showed their face there, and just Sylvanas alone was enough to zone them out. No real abilities were used. Sylvanas sort of said, no, I'm here. Y'all better go away, otherwise it's going to be some problems. That's basically what we saw out of Myrmidons. They immediately retreated and hung out by the right side to prevent any more push-in, push up their right lane a little bit, which was filled with fire minions.
Gold Fury started up again from Fnatic here, the third of the game that they're looking for. Psiyo, well, he's got a couple of bombs, and that's about all he can do, and now he's going to be forced back as Twig surges forward. Nothing that Psiyo can really do here. Blink forward from Twig. Now he's going to leap over.
Oh!
Holy moly. Beads as well, dumping all of his actives to Swig to try to get this kill. And really, the team dumping everything they got to try to get this kill. Zyrhoes will snipe that one with a spear gun from long, long away. Body blocks coming out from Badgah. The pluck back in on to Dardez, forcing out the dash forward from Sobek. Tail whip comes out. Hasn't been enough disruption. Badgah looking for an opportunity. LeMoGow, he'll get blown up before he can do much. In his ultimate, Dardez going to die. No, just as he falls down. And nobody, I mean, nobody has checked Realzx at any point during any of these fights, and he has just absolutely crushed the team. And maybe not to the effect of Hercules, but hey, look, 17,000 damage on an Apollo is absurd as well. I mean, that's all single target. Hercules at least has some AoE to enjoy. It's just so beautiful from the Apollo. And in every fight, you just see Realzx with those finger guns just pew-pewing MoGow and taking him down to 50%.
I mean, and I mean, I mentioned it in game number 1. I'm going to mention it again here. Realzx is always there. He's just always present in the right spot, and he's not afraid to stay in a fight where most people would leave. He's fine with low HP, going to stick around, and that's a large reason of why his damage is so low, because he's in these fights for the entire length of them. And here, Fnatic, again, in game number 2, looking dominant as ever to return to form for the old number 1 seed. Now, not quite there, but start off to a top.
And if it wasn't for players like adapting, I mean, Realzx would really be the front runner for the best player in Europe. I mean,
I'd say so.
Clinic today on his Hunters. On her and Apollo. Nothing fancy, old school style. And just put the beating on the Myrmidons.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, old school style. I mean, we saw, so you know, Apollo ultimates used the way they should be. Just find the guy in the back line, counter push and split push a little bit, rotate back to the fight. So a lot of standard sort of textbook fundamentals. But this fight all started off with Zyrhoes making the rotation to the solo lane.
Yeah, it makes the underneath rotation here between the blue team and their tower. This ends up being a pretty extended engagement. As that ultimate comes out, they end up straining some more blows underneath the tower, but the first blood does go the way of Fnatic, and in this game it just continues being Fnatic all the way through. There was no moment where Myrmidons really looked like they had control, opposed to game 1 where they did have that really strong opening phase.
Yeah, I mean, this one went a little bit differently. As I said, the Fnatic sort of got the momentum in game 1, and you don't really want to give momentum to this team, especially when you have a player like Maniakk, who actually winds up with our player of the game, as we sort of hinted during the game itself. Maniakk has always been this character. I mean, if you've ever seen a LAN, if you've ever been here, you don't want to give him an inch, because he will definitely take a mile, both in-game and out. And I mean, that's exactly what we saw from
that was huge there. I mean, this sets up the second Gold Fury of the game, which in a lot of ways was the nail in the coffin for this one. Apollo comes over the top there. They take an extended engagement underneath the tier 2. They end up getting a lot out of this push. They clean up MoGow yet again. And the Spirit Gun comes through, allowing them passage underneath the tower if they want it. Then they'll get the execute for the Ao Guang there. I mean, it just ends up being such a huge play. And what you really see there is not so much the kills that Maniakk gets, although that's what this reel is about, of course. It's just the plays that he makes and the way that he establishes the front line so effectively for Fnatic. It allows Badgah a lot of room to set up those plucks and get those roots, because the team's not worried about dodging him, they're worried about dodging the Hercules, and Maniakk just had such a high accuracy rate on those Earthshakers.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason that, you know, really brings out the Hercules from Maniakk, excuse me, is his ability to just be accurate with it and create the buffer that you really need your warrior to do. So, I mean, he shows up, he puts that buffer out, but today we're going to be joined by a Hunter.
We will, yeah, it's Fnatic's Hunter, it's Marcus, Realzx. How you doing? Realzx, welcome to the show.
I'm good.
Are you good?
How are you guys?
I'm fantastic. How is it over in sunny and never foggy England?
It's not too bad, actually. Spent the day with Eric
That's
Friday,
right.
So yeah, it's been super fun.
Yeah, so one of our production guys is over across the seas in Britain today, and I guess met up with Marcus. So Realzx, you know, a classic performance there on her Apollo. It's like 2 years ago all over again.
Yeah, it was good. It was good going back to my roots, I guess. kind of disappointed in the second game that I died though. I had beads ready for the Sobek pull, but had it on the wrong key, pressing the wrong key. There's no active in there, and pulled into my death. It was perfect.
So disappointed you fell one time in a 2-game set. I guess I understand now. Coming into this split, you guys were struggling a little bit, and a lot of signs sort of pointed to CaptainTwig. Now, though, not just with these 2 games you played today, but last week as well, you guys sort of look on the upswing. Any insight into what made that happen?
It's been hard, honestly. We've been playing some good teams so far, and Epsilon have been playing incredibly. So going against them was super hard. It just feels nice to win both games in a series because we haven't done that yet. We lost 2-0 to Epsilon, 1-1 to Dignitas, and 1-1 to Titan. So it just feels good to get 2 wins under our belt.
Yeah, you get all next week to practice with a 2-0 advantage there, Realzx. Thank you very much for joining us here. You guys can find Realzx at Fnatic Realzx on Twitter, at /RealzX_ on Twitch. Realzx, any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, thank you for the sponsor. Great casting as always. Thank you for everyone who's been supporting us, all the fans, etc., etc. Yeah, just a big thanks.
Well, cheers. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Realzx, and thank you, FDR, for joining me for set number 1 out of Europe. Coming up next, it's set number 2 from Europe, where it'll be Adonis joining me on the desk, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few moments. See you then.
Realize the lesson whenever you make a call. If you want a revolution, I'm really giving to y'all.